And then I didn't pick those notes up because it was the wrong film.
And that, as much as anything else, led to my drinking problem.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Workman. I am the man of constant hatred.
And I'm Manny Classic, and this is Drinking Age Movies, a review show where we review movies from 21 years ago.
And this week we say happy 21st birthday to a film that couldn't be more aptly named. That's correct. We're watching The Pest.
He's after some fast cash.
Where's my money?
I'll have the money for you. What's the day after today? Tomorrow? Tomorrow!
And the only way he's going to get it
Join me for a little gentlemanly hunt.
Oh, goody. What are we gonna hunt?
is to let them hunt him.
If you survive for 24 hours, you get $50,000.
$50,000?
The Pest was released February 7th, 1997, directed by R. Paul Miller. Not your Paul Miller. Starring John Leguizamo, Jeffrey Jones, young Freddie Rodriguez, Joe Morton, and a pre-Mad TV Aries Spears. $17 million budget, and it ended up grossing $3.5 million.
Oh. The Pest stars John Leguizamo as Pestario?
Oh yeah, get ready for this. Here it comes. Pestario Rivera Garcia Espinosa Juan de Marco Neruda Salsa Picante Chancleta Chuleta El Salsa Picante Vargas.
That's a thing. A young Miami annoying man who is hired by a rich neo-Nazi in order to hunt him on his private island. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, impact, 21 years later.
So, I don't think the movie itself has a great impact 21 years later, but there's a lot of actors that became kind of big names afterwards. Aries Spears, of course, goes on to do a lot of stand-up, Mad TV, which he pretty much anchors for the duration of its original run, because he starts later that year on Mad TV and actually runs for 8 years in Mad TV. Freddie Rodriguez becomes kind of a big deal afterwards.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Jones and John Leguizamo are both stars at this point.
Yeah.
But John Leguizamo's career, I think, gets bigger. Jeffrey Jones has already built that niche that he's in.
Yeah, he's a pretty mainstay character actor, so he's got himself a nice place.
So yeah, I think the actors kind of move along and get bigger for the most part. The movie, though, not a whole lot.
No, there's very minimal impact on this one. So much so that I remember watching this film now 13, 12 years ago, even. Like, real, much more recent than this. And I don't remember half of this film from that viewing. In fact, a lot of the stuff that happened in this film really surprised me in various ways. So, yeah, I can't say personal impact anyway, but more to the point, overall impact seemed just whatever. All right. So how do we feel about this overall?
So, I like John Leguizamo's humor, which is immediately going to turn half of you off right now. Guaranteed. Because you either love his humor or you hate his humor. There's no fence sitting, there's no in-between.
You know, I can't say that I don't like his humor, because I like his one-man shows. But the way that his humor is presented in this film is absolutely a turnoff for me. It's just constant and kind of annoying and just kind of bashes you over the head from scene to scene, from moment to moment, half the time.
See, I think that's where John Leguizamo, for the most part, is at his best, though, is especially his really early humor, not more so his autobiographical stuff like the Ghetto Clown.
Chi-Chi, I look so pretty, I think they're gonna put my face on a postage stamp. And I add Lipavita with a face like that, ain't nobody gonna wanna lick it. Aha!
And Spixaholics.
And every day, I couldn't wait to get the hell out of that madhouse. And high school became my refuge. And I was about 16 years old, 35 in ghetto.
Things like that.
Yeah.
But his real early humor was just throwing impersonations, jokes, just throwing them at you and hoping that at least one or two of them stick. And I will admit, a lot of these miss. There's a lot of weird racial stereotype stuff, kind of the same way that we saw in Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah.
Which you could still watch that video on the channel if you want to click back for that after you're done watching this.
Yeah, down to the fact that it even shares in common with Beverly Hills Ninja a scene where he dresses up like a Chinese person, and
he does it twice.
Does it twice? Yes, he does. He does it twice, and specifically, one scene he goes and delivers Chinese food. So you get a Chinese person with Chinese food, just like Beverly Hills Ninja, because that was apparently the funniest thing you could think of in '97.
The funny thing to me is there's at least a little twist on the delivery food scene where the guy who owns the restaurant is like, "You don't even look Chinese.
You don't even look Chinese. You look like Bo from Three Stooges. I fire your ass."
So at least they try to salvage it some, but
it still misses horribly. But at least it understands that, in particular, that scene is ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's kind of meta in that way, where a lot of it realizes what it is, but at the same time, just because you realize you're being ridiculous doesn't mean you're doing it well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just way too much of that going on.
There's a lot. Which is... So my thought is that this movie was John Leguizamo being able to write his own check to do a John Leguizamo film.
Right.
Because at this point, he's already established himself as a dramatic actor with turns in Romeo plus Juliet the year before.
Yeah, that's how that's pronounced.
And then prior to that was Carlito's Way, where he's Benny Blanco from the Bronx, which is a great role.
Yeah. That's a fantastic one. He also had Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, which was granted a comedy, but still had some good dramatic moments for its characters.
Yeah, it's a more emotional archetype film. He did a few other comedies prior to this, usually in smaller parts. He does a couple small cameos in things like Die Hard 2 as a thug.
Yeah, he was in an Executive Decision. A fine film.
Yeah, so like it's at this point he's a bankable enough star that someone apparently one of the studios was like, "Hey, sure you can make your own film. You've made enough money for us to do your own thing." And then this is what happened.
Yeah, and I'm sure it reaches cult classic or some kind of cult status later on, but the fact that it cost $17 million and made 3.5,
yeah,
not a good look on John Leguizamo as a star.
Inherently, though, my biggest problem with the film is the plot pacing itself, because there's a lot of jumps and things like that, but it comes from really great source material. At its core, the movie is just John Leguizamo's retelling of The Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah.
For those of you not in the know, it's a short story that was released 1924 about a hunter who's pretty much killed every animal on the planet. The only thing he has left is to hunt down humans that he kind of finds and is able to take to his island, because it's the last thing that he thinks will give him a challenge in hunting.
Right. And that's a great story, and it's been told a lot of times in a lot of different ways. So it's not the worst thing you could go for, but then they add in this they try to modernize it by adding kind of a racial undertone to it with, I guess, overtone. I mean, it's kind of the whole point to the film. With Jeffrey Jones being essentially a neo-Nazi because he's German. And Germans, haha, are Nazis. That's always a wonderful joke. You could always capitalize off on it.
The nuts thing is originally, when you kind of meet Jeffrey Jones' character, clearly he's German because he has an awful German accent that he's using.
German accent.
But they don't play up the fact that he's a neo-Nazi. And then you reach his island, his estate, and you're kind of exploring this study that he has. And then it's just like, hey, here's Mein Kampf.
Mein Kampf?
And the rise and fall of the Third Reich.
The rise and fall of the Third Reich?
And a gigantic globe that's been etched in over the United States that says the United States of Germany.
Somebody's a sore loser.
Yeah.
Like, it just goes from, oh, weird German guy to directly neo-Nazi. And
Yep.
then the rest of the film will not let you stop remembering the fact that he's a neo-Nazi.
That's it. That's the joke. And and there's a lot of that kind of xenophobia running through the film as well as the weird racial humor. When they speak German, it's this weird fake German.
Und reisend und lichtend mit der Oden Roten an der Pain in der Asenheimer mit der Auglistein und der goddamn Fahrt des Stinken und der Smellenheimer.
You speak German.
There's a scene where someone speaks French and it's a weird fake French. It's just this weird undercurrent of xenophobia that just pervades everything.
Back to the delivery scene. Weird xenophobic Chinese.
My favorite delivery boy. What happened to you? You're late.
政委boy，
屌哪媽日日都翻工遲到嘅喎，
啲數袋啊，
仲唔博取
mi love you long time，mi so horny 同妖嘅住。
？Why I don't understand any of your Chinese?
Yeah, they talk about all the dogs going missing in the neighborhood at some point when he's being hired by Jeffrey Jones, and just come on. What were we doing in '97?
Apparently Beverly Hills Ninja and this.
Did we just pick the wrong year to start this channel?
Look, it's going to get better.
It has to get better.
Yeah, there's not a lot of just being like, well, this is the pinnacle. Everything else from now is just downhill.
Just when you got to stick to something, and you're doing a film by the weeks they came out, it's hard. January, February, hard, folks. We're getting there. Just stay with us. All right. Honestly, I found this film monstrously unfunny. It's too hyperactive in moments. The editing is just all over the place. The cinematography is actually not great. It was a really hard watch for me. As far as our grading scale, I'm giving it a damn awful.
I don't think the cinematography is as bad as you think it is. I think it's maybe just an average 97 movie. The problem is that for every average 97 movie, you also get something really gorgeous like Titanic that comes out later in the year. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that. But I find, like I said at the beginning, I find John Leguizamo's humor funny, and there are definitely a few jokes that I think are funny, that hit. My problem is that those are few and far between. So based on our scale, think it's pretty damn bad.
What did you think of The Pest? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you want John Leguizamo to be castrated? Leave a comment down below.
Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to know when we put out new videos, you can click the bell icon, which will send you notifications.
And as always, have a damn fine day.